Welcome back to Singapore Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. More now on that new report by the Economic Development Board, which says that manufacturing isn't keeping up with technology. We're joined in the studios by Mr. Lim Kok Kiang. He's Assistant Managing Director from the EDB. Welcome, Mr. Lim. Good to see you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first off, what's the inspiration behind ITAP?
I think really it's about, as we embark on our journey to talk to companies, and you know manufacturing sector is actually a very important part of our economy. It contributes over 21% to our GDP. And as we talk to companies about transformation, it came across that while most of the companies have a broad understanding of what Industry 4.0 is about, but they find it hard to think about when and how they could get started. And so it's with that in mind that we worked with SingEx and Deutsche Messe, which is the organizer for the largest industrial trade fair in the world, Hannover Messe, to bring the Asia-Pacific version of Hannover Messe to Singapore, hoping that it would serve as a platform for companies, technology providers to come together to network, exchange views, and maybe chart the path forward.
Okay, but you know, at the same time, you say they don't know where to start, but then some companies have already started. So everyone here, you know, they're all moving at a different level in terms of automation. So how will this then help them in the various stages that, you know, all the companies are at?
Exactly. I think if you think about manufacturing and think about Industry 4.0, there's really no one-size-fits-all. I think different companies, different industries are at different stage of evolution, and the dynamism of the industries are also different. And hence, here's the wonderful thing about the industry transformation Asia Pacific. It allows for companies to not only learn about best in class in their industry, but also learn about how other industries are leveraging technology in their own way. So that over a period of time, I think that builds a wealth of knowledge that I suppose give them the impetus to go ahead.
So let's look at some of the findings from the Smart Industry Readiness Index, otherwise known as SIRI. It basically showed that manufacturers in semiconductors, in the pharmaceutical sectors, they're leading the way as far as this is concerned. Why is that the case, though?
I think it's really a function of the, as I mentioned earlier, the dynamics and the competitiveness nature of the industry that propels the companies. But actually what's important is not just the scores in and of itself, but what you do about it. So for example, in the pharmaceutical industries, all the companies are generally at about the same level of sophistication. So what's happening is the industry is actually coming together to share the SIRI scores and look for common problem statements that they can work on together to propel them forward. Whereas some other industries that are perhaps in the earlier stage of the journey can actually then think about more smaller incremental steps, like for example, small process improvements to get along the way. So again, it allows for us to be able to customize our solutions accordingly. And that is really the reason why the EDB started the Smart Industry Readiness Index in the first place anyway. It is really a simple, easy-to-use diagnostic kit that company can use to evaluate where they are and think about the next steps that they can take and to sustain it.
Okay, so saying that, then how will ITAP 2019 then actually facilitate the exchange between the tech providers and the manufacturers?
Right. So on one hand, there's over 350 exhibitors from 30 countries, which is a lot more than the 200 over that is in the previous year. And second of all, the organizers have actually curated a learning journey with a lot of smaller seminars and exchanges, as well as what they call, collaboration labs, where, easy-to-use solution, easy retrofitting, cost-effective robotic solutions are on display so that the companies can actually go and see and understand better and not just reading about them or, hearing the suppliers talk about them. They can actually see the actual equipment in motion.
A question for you about automation and robotics, because that's very much in the news now. Honestly, are robots, in automation going to replace us? I know you're going to say, it's going to give us time to do higher value jobs, but, are people losing their jobs because of automation?
No, actually, if you look at the SIRI index, the three biggest pillars of the SIRI index is about technology, but it's also about process and about people. And I think it's about optimizing the three pillars that brings about, industry transformation. And if you look at, I'll just quote a report by the BCG that talks about the impact of I 4.0 on Singapore's manufacturers, and the report's findings are that, potentially it could, add up to 22,000 jobs. But at the same time, perhaps this immediate or, displace another 23,000 jobs or so. But if you look at the overall scheme of things, manufacturing in Singapore has over 400,000 people. So even if you look at the number of workers that are likely to be, displaced, it's about 23,000. And that's where, which is about 5%. But that's where also, if you think about how you can actually leverage the insights from the, SIRI index findings and make sure that for different industries, you can curate the right level of courses for the industry at that level of journey that could help, the workforce upgrade and hopefully can be competitive over the long term.
Well, this is all about economic transformation, so we better get used to it.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lim, thank you very much for coming into the studios and sharing your perspectives with us on this. We've been speaking there to Mr. Lim Kok Kiang. He's Assistant Managing Director from the EDB.